Western Australian football has a history stretching back more than a century. Hundreds of clubs have competed in the state's top divisions. But if you look at the NPL WA and the State League today, many famous names are missing. Clubs that once won championships, clubs that once filled grounds with passionate supporters, clubs that were once giants of WA football. So what happened to them? Today we're looking into the former WA football clubs that disappeared from the State League system. Before we start, it's important to understand something. WA football has always been shaped by immigration and community identity. During the 50s, 60s and 70s, many clubs were founded by European migrant communities. Italian clubs, Croatian clubs, Greek clubs, Macedonian clubs. These communities built some of the strongest football teams Western Australia had ever seen. But over time, many of those clubs merged with other teams, changed names, dropped into amateur football, or disappeared completely. This is the top 10 teams that are no longer in the top division of WA football. Number 10 is Swan Valley, one of the earliest forgotten clubs in WA football. Swan Valley entered the semi-professional league structure in 1960. Within just 2 years, they had already made their mark. They won the first division in 1962. That promotion launched a strong period for the club. Between 63 and 72, Swan Valley spent 10 seasons in the WA top flight. But after the early 70s, the club slowly faded from the top levels. By the early 80s, Swan Valley had left the semi-professional structure entirely. For decades, the club disappeared from the WA football map. Number 9, Queen's Park. Queen's Park is a club that spent decades around the State League structure. They entered the semi-professional pyramid in 1963. Although they never reached the very top of WA football, they were a consistent presence in the lower professional divisions. Their greatest success came in 1991 when they won the WA Cup competition. But by 2010, the club left the State League system, and today the name survives only in local amateur football. Number 8, Bassendean Caledonian. They are the oldest club in Western Australia. They are one of the longest serving clubs in WA semi-professional football as well. They joined the professional system in 63. They would remain part of the State League structure for more than 40 years. During that time, they reached the top division, won the first division title, became a regular part of the WA football pyramid. But in 2005, the club finally withdrew from the semi-professional leagues. Today, they continue to exist only in their amateur competitions. Number 7, the Stirling Panthers. Stirling Panthers are a fascinating case in WA football history. The club's origins go back through several identities: St Mark's CBC, Hampton Phoenix, Stirling Tuscany, and the Stirling Panthers. In 1994, the Panthers won the first division title, earning promotion to the top level. But their time in State League was short. Just 2 years later, the club merged with another side. They merged, creating Bayswater City Panthers, which eventually became the modern Bayswater City. So while the Panthers' identity disappeared, their legacy lives on through one of WA football's strongest modern clubs. Number 6 was Cracovia. Cracovia were one of the most important clubs in the early years of the WA professional football system. They were a foundation member of the 1960s professional league. During the 60s, they were a serious force. In 66, they won the State League Championship. They also won the State Cup in 67. For nearly 2 decades, Cracovia were a regular presence in the WA football's top divisions. But after 93, the club left the semi-professional structure, and today the name survives only in the amateur leagues. Moving into the modern era, number 5 is Swan IC. Moving into the modern era, Swan IC were once a strong club of WA football. During the early 2000s, they enjoyed their greatest success. The club won the State Cup twice in 2003 and 4, but soon after that success, the club underwent a major transformation. In 2008, Swan IC merged with the Swan District's junior football structure. The club was reborn as Swan United. The Swan IC name disappeared from State League forever. Coming in at number 4 is Gosnells Town Soccer Club. Gosnells Town were once a regular name in WA football. The club spent 9 seasons in the top division during the 70s and 80s. They also won multiple titles in the lower state league divisions. But the club eventually became part of a series of mergers. First they merged with Ferndale United, then the club merged with Kelmscott Roos. The final result was Southside United, until changing their name to Gosnells City in 2004. Although the original Gosnells Town Soccer Club identity no longer exists, the team is still around today called Gosnells City, and they play in the State League 2 division. Number 3 is North Perth, Croatia. During the 70s and 80s, North Perth, Croatia was one of the strongest Croatian-backed clubs in WA football. They won the First Division Championship twice and were frequent contenders in the State League. But as football structures evolved, the club eventually changed identity. Their lineage continues under the name the Western Knights. The original North Perth, Croatia identity disappeared. Number 2, Spearwood, Dalmatinac. Few forgotten clubs were as powerful as Spearwood, Dalmatinac. During the late 1970s and early 1980s, they were one of the strongest teams in WA football. They won multiple championships and built a reputation for intense attacking football. Eventually, the club merged with Cockburn United. The merger created the modern team Cockburn City. But the Dalmatinac name, once feared across the State League, disappeared from the top level. And number 1, East Fremantle Tricolour, the biggest forgotten football giant in WA football. East Fremantle Tricolour were the most dominant club of the 60s. They won the 3 consecutive State League titles between 63 and 65. Their 64 team completed the entire season undefeated. They also won multiple state cups. At their peak, they were one of the strongest teams in Australian semi-professional football. But over time, the club identity faded. Eventually, their lineage merged into the modern Fremantle City FC. Today, the tricolour name survives only in historical records. WA football has always been a game of communities, and as communities change, so do the clubs that represent them. Some teams rise, others disappear. Every one of these clubs played a role in building the game in Western Australia, even if their names are now forgotten. But now I want to hear from you. Which former WA football club do you think should still exist today? And which club had the greatest forgotten team in WA history? Let me know in the comments, because WA football has a lot more history than most people realise. I'm Aaron Beggs, and you're watching the WA Football Network. Bye for now.